Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. It's April 2nd, 2024. It's extremely overcast, cloudy, rainy, and we have a tornado watch here in eastern Kentucky, Jackson County. A lot of places across Kentucky also are on watch, particularly the Bowling Green area, which is west of where I am. But anyway, this is Lorraine, Alternative Homestead. I want you to hit the thumbs up. Helps the channel grow, get the message out there. And I want to show you something. You see this here? This is what the criminals do when they come into my house. They like to peel labels off of things. This laptop is so old. And until a week and a half ago, this label was stuck clearly on here. They also peeled off the top portion. So they did this. And then what they did is they cut this little portion off here. I don't know if you can see it here. They sliced it. First, what they did is they sliced it here. And then they sliced it here. And they left it. And then they pulled it off and threw it on the floor. So, yeah. So, you know what? You can be watch listed for any reason. You know, you could piss off the neighbor's dog. Right? You can piss off, or you just piss off the best narcissist on, in New Jersey, or anywhere. You just piss off a narcissist and you get placed on a list to be tormented for the rest of your life with no due process. But anyway, I saw on Roy's channel, Targeted Individuals United, a woman, Maria, was giving an update with regard to Ryan Mitchell and his class action lawsuit, that they have attorneys. Of course, I don't blame them for not mentioning who the lawyers are, particularly if they're preparing a case. They could be coerced and bribed or tormented, harassed and all that stuff. So she claims that they do have some attorneys waiting. There's some updated information on their website about the purchasing of kits to test your nanotechnology and stuff, and that all targeted people have it within their bodies. I can attest to the fact that I have stuff rubbing off my body all the time. It feels almost like a film is on my skin. And I shower every day. I wear layers and layers of clothing all day long, even in the summertime, so that my skin is not exposed. So this should not be happening, particularly when I eat organic food. I don't smoke, drink, do drugs. I don't even take an aspirin. I don't eat genetically modified foods to the best of my knowledge. And literally, I should be a really healthy person, and I was before I moved to Kentucky. But since I've moved here, my toenails are falling off. My skin has wrinkles in places where I've never had wrinkles. It's not even genetically predisposed for me to wrinkle in those areas of my face. So this is being done to me. I'm sure you can all, especially the females out there, they really like to target women. They don't want women to be attractive. So they'll do things to make you look unattractive or unappealing or ugly. It's just a projection of what they are. So I wanted to get on here and just talk to you before, if we have another storm. It is raining now. It's been stop and go rain all day. Drizzling, steady. And guess what? While I was out in the Cats building, these criminals are on my property. So they must be paid really, really well. Because I walked into the Cats building. I was there for maybe 5 minutes. I come back, and a whole pile of ants were dumped in the entrance of my house. Inside. Okay, inside the entrance of my house. And they also dumped the water in that water catchment barrel, which, with the amount of rain that we had, it should have been at least a quarter, even a half full. Empty. Totally empty. Okay, it's no joke. It's not even funny anymore. But I wanted to talk about what is obstruction of justice and what are the legal consequences And how does one collect evidence and prosecute it? So, of course, I went to OpenAI. I wanted to ask, so I have the information available for you guys without having to do too much research today. I'm still working on my taxes, which is taking me forever. Obstruction of justice is a criminal offense where an individual or a group willfully interferes with the administration of justice. This interference can take various forms, including but not limited to 1. Witness tampering, trying to influence or intimidate a witness, such as through threats or bribery, to alter their testimony or withhold information. And as I mentioned, the witness, I had a witness against my neighbors who had torn out my gate across the street. And he received a threatening handwritten letter in his mailbox. And he lives a half an hour away. 1, how would they know his name? 2, how would they know his address? And 3, who's stupid enough to write a handwritten letter, drive a half an hour, and stick it in somebody's mailbox, threatening them with the words on their letter that match exactly some of the language of the county prosecutor lawyer's letterhead? Anyway, document destruction. Destroying, altering, or hiding evidence that could be relevant to an ongoing investigation or court proceeding. I'll give you an example. Muckrock. I had an account with Muckrock FOIA request, public FOIA information. Now, the reason I subscribed to it is it was recommended to me because I wanted my documents to be public. And I had 41 FOIA requests from New Jersey to Kentucky. All kinds of various stuff. I FOIA requested the FBI, the Manalapan Police Department, the local sheriff's department, the county lawyer, the whole various items and stuff. And when I filed a complaint with the Attorney General, Daniel Cameron, who's no longer our Attorney General here in Kentucky, and with the Criminal Investigations Division, they asked me for evidence, proof, etc. So I gave them everything. Well, after that, evidently someone was contacted, evidently the county lawyer who I filed the complaint against, was evidently informed and allegedly, I'm going to say allegedly, contacted Muckrock to take down my account, file a complaint during an ongoing investigation. That's right, my account is gone. All of those public records are gone. The ones that I paid for. So this is document destruction, destroying or altering or hiding evidence that could be relevant to an ongoing investigation or court proceeding. Perjury, knowingly providing false information while under oath in a legal proceeding. Well, need we say more? Obstruction by false information, providing false information or lying to law enforcement or other officials during an investigation. I'll give you an example. When the local sheriff here refused to process serve my neighbors, he was supposed to provide them my complaint for them to appear in court. When that didn't happen, I hired a process server that I had to pay. It was a female process server, and she approached my neighbor's door, and on the neighbor's door was another handwritten letter with a little camera threatening her. Okay? And she also told the process server that her husband and she were getting a divorce. They didn't live together anymore. That actually was false. Providing false information or lying to law enforcement or other officials during an investigation. That was false. Interference with law enforcement. This would be resisting arrest, fleeing from law enforcement, or otherwise obstructing their lawful duties. I can't say if that happened or not because the law enforcement of here did absolutely nothing to arrest either one of those criminals or any of the other criminals around here. The legal consequences of obstruction of justice can vary depending on the jurisdiction and the severity of the offense. In many cases, it is considered a felony offense and can result in significant fines, imprisonment, or both. The severity of the punishment often depends on factors such as the nature and extent of the obstruction, the harm caused, and the individual's criminal history. Collecting evidence to prosecute obstruction of justice typically involves gathering witness statements, documents, electronic communications, and other relevant materials that demonstrate the obstructive behavior. This may involve subpoenas for records, surveillance, forensics analysis of electronic devices, and other investigative techniques. And I'll just say for the record, somebody was in my email and deleted 2 years of emails, including many of those emails to the county lawyer, but not limited to the fact that they deleted my deceased mother's emails to me that I no longer have. Once sufficient evidence has been gathered, prosecutors can bring charges against the individual or group suspected of obstructing justice. The case would then proceed through the criminal justice system, with the defendant having the opportunity to present their defense. If found guilty, the individual would face the aforementioned legal consequences. Okay, so that is a felony. Also, moving or removing someone else's property markers is also considered to be a felony. So, if you have any questions or comments, let me know if you have experienced obstruction of justice and if you've collected evidence that was stolen, suppressed, deleted, if you've had a witness that was tampered with, your documents were destroyed, if you were in, if you had a legal proceeding where there was perjury, where somebody came forward and falsely testified. Sort of like when I lived at 52 Sutton Drive in Manalapan, when my perpetrator neighbor, I just call her Blondie, I used to call her the Russian spy until I found out she wasn't Russian, harassed me while I was walking on my driveway and then called the police on me and lied to the police and said that I cursed at her with her infant son in the trunk of her vehicle. Well, that's not true. I walked out of my house and she was nowhere to be seen. I walked to my mailbox. My painter was there. We had a chat and I walked back and she walked out of her house to start a fight argument with me and then lied to the police. And then, of course, the police, the Manalapan coppers, refused my evidence and never included my evidence in the incident report. They also wiped my digital recorder clean, even though it had a new battery and I tested it before walking outside. They also wiped my porch cameras clean with their technology, the use of technology. And then when I received the incident report, guess what it said? Of course it lied. It said all of these things that the neighbor said, but they never included anything that I said, including providing them a written letter where they threatened me in writing. Didn't include that at all. They labeled me. They said that the incident was terror threat and disorderly conduct. I kid you not. Me, walking on my driveway with the implanted perpetrator that lived next door. Now, I lived at 52 Sutton Drive in Manalapan, and if I'm facing my house, that perpetrator would be to the left. Not the right, the left. I'm not going to give you the address, but you can figure it out if you go online. Yes, you can figure it out. The perpetrator that lived next to me when I lived at 52 Sutton Drive set up an incident, and the criminals at the Manalapan Police Department, Lieutenant Thomas Mantle, he was a lieutenant now. Now I think he was a captain. This is what happens. Crime really does pay for these criminals. On the incident report wrote terror threat and disorderly conduct so that they can get their grants for me. They have to keep renewing it. So they have to keep fabricating evidence. And of course I FOIA requested the document. Of course I wrote a letter in response to it. I asked them, actually, what did it mean? What did those codes mean? I never received a response. I was never able to dispute it. Of course, I did write several letters of follow-up, but this is how criminal the Manalapan Police Department is. That's right, folks. They like to set people up, innocent people, for profit. And also because, I have to say this is really weird. Now, I have had in my life a lot of gay male friends. I worked at Bloomingdale's a zillion years ago. And a lot of the people that work with me were gay guys. And I liked them. They were fun. I have nothing against gay men at all. But I find it really unusual that a gay guy would be so interested in me that he has to pay people to watch everything I do, find out all the stuff about me, here in Kentucky. Yeah. I'm not going to say anything more about it. I could care less what he does in his bedroom, but it's just very bizarre that some gay lawyer would have such an overwhelming interest in what I do. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. Oh, and yes, there are a lot of those guys in the Manalapan Police Department, too. And actually, somebody, I think it was last year or the year before, said something that I never considered before. I don't remember if it was a male or a female that said it, but they said, Lorraine, you have to understand that many of the officers in the police departments across the United States, the men, they're not all biological men. Some of them grew up in a satanic ritual abuse family, like an Illuminati family, where they are forced to sacrifice, to transition one of their children. That some of the alleged men in police departments across the country are actually biological females. I didn't know that. I never gave it a set. I never considered it. Never considered it. I never considered it. It's still bizarre to me. But it wouldn't surprise me. Please leave your comments down below. I'd be curious to hear what you have to say, what your experiences are. And I'm going to sign off for now. It is raining. Actually, the tornado warning is until 8 p.m. I don't know what's going to happen, but just because they said it's 8 p.m., it doesn't mean it couldn't be 9 or 10 p.m. Hopefully all my birdies are back in bed on their perches if the wind should pick up. But I hope everybody's doing well on this Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024. And please remember to hit the thumbs up, like, comment, share if you feel inclined to do so. Signing off for now.